A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Hi everybody, this is Mike Greer, your friendly neighborhood project management coach, with another collection of thoughts for inspired project teams, enduring wisdom and guided challenges to help project teams achieve their best. Today's focus: do what you fear and grow stronger. I'm going to start with a couple of quotes here. First, from Eleanor Roosevelt, quote, "Do one thing every day that scares you," end quote. Then there's this from Ralph Waldo Emerson, quote, "Always, always, 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 always do what you are afraid to do. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Do the thing, and you will have the power," end quote. Now here's a story. When I was 15 years old, I loved to sing. I sang mostly in the shower, really belting out the lyrics to rock and roll songs. The bigger the shower, the better the echo, and the louder I sang. One night after basketball practice, I was alone in the school's shower and really wailing. As I finished my shower and my song, I grabbed my towel and turned to leave and saw one of the seniors standing there smiling at me. He was a lead guitar player in a popular local band, and he informed me that he really liked my voice and wanted to know if I'd consider singing with the band. Consider? Well, I jumped at the chance. I was nervous, but enthusiastic. I attended a few rehearsals at his house and discovered that I really loved singing amplified and surrounded by all that rock and roll thunder. Eventually, during one of those rehearsals, it dawned on me, though, this was the real deal. Someday soon I'd have to do this in front of a crowd. Now, if I stopped to think about this for very long, my heart would start racing and I'd feel like running away and hiding. But I loved the music and I kept on rehearsing and pushed those thoughts out of my mind. Inevitably, a couple of weeks passed and I found myself walking on stage in front of my first big crowd. I had sweaty, cold palms and I was terrified. My heart was in my throat and I could feel all the lyrics just leaving my brain entirely. And again, I felt like running and hiding. But ready or not, the band started playing, people started dancing, and I somehow started singing on cue, and the energy of it all just began to flow. For the next several years, my singing skills grew. I learned to play bass guitar. The band played a wide variety of venues where we met all sorts of people, and I became completely comfortable in front of crowds. Whole new worlds were opened up to me, and I wasn't even out of high school. As the years pass and I've faced even more frightening challenges, I realize that I've come to regard fear as a doorway. You can't really see everything that's on the other side, but if you ignore your sweaty palms, gather your courage, and step through, you almost always enter another dimension in your life. A dimension in which you are stronger than you were in the one you left behind. Consider these 5 truths about fear from Dr. Susan Jeffers in her powerful book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Dynamic techniques for turning fear, indecision, and anger into power, action, and love. Quote, "Truth number 1, the fear will never go away as long as I continue to grow. Truth number 2, the only way to get rid of the fear of doing something is to go out and do it. Truth number 3, the only way to feel better about myself is to go out and do it. Truth number 4, not only am I going to experience fear whenever I'm on unfamiliar territory, but so is everyone else. Truth 5, pushing through fear is less frightening than living with the underlying fear that comes from a feeling of helplessness." End quote. These are powerful ideas. Dr. Jeffers recommends that you copy these 5 truths, post them, and read them once a day for the next month. The object of the game: change your relationship with fear. See those situations that you fear as they really are, as opportunities to stretch and grow stronger. Okay, let's accept the premise that these 5 truths can help change our overall attitude toward fear in general. But what about that huge, specific fear you're facing right now? When you're staring at a major, painful fear, one that almost paralyzes you, how can you rally your will to overcome it? Where do you begin? Well, according to Dr. Jeffers, quote, "Remember that much of the trick of moving from pain to power is taking action. Action is very powerful." End quote. In other words, even if you just take a baby step or two, you need to act. You need to stretch a little outside your comfort zone, experience a small success, overcome a little piece of your fear, and build on that. Then repeat the process by taking the next step, and the next step, and the next step, until you have completely overcome that major fear. So, to return to my singing example, it was really important that I spent some time rehearsing with the band, something that was a little scary to me at first, before I stepped out onto that first stage. And it also helped that that first small crowd was made up of sympathetic friends and relatives who welcomed the band. That helped me overcome some of the stage fright I'd feel when we later stepped in front of a huge crowd of strangers. So I took baby steps. Little by little, I chipped away at that larger fear by confronting it a piece at a time. But what does all this mean to project teams and project managers? Let's consider a typical example of something that strikes fear into the hearts of many project teams: the need to ask for more resources. Especially in these tough financial times with organizations running lean and resources hard to find, it can be frightening to tell your customer or your sponsor that you simply don't have enough people, or equipment, or money to get the job done. The idea of going to them and saying, "We need more resources," can be truly frightening, especially when you begin imagining the angry response this news might provoke. So how can you deal with this fear? Well, given this situation, you need to take some baby steps that allow you to address the fear in small increments. So you might begin by doing some research, poking around and documenting the time it typically takes other project teams to perform the tasks that your project team is trying to complete. Then, you might document how your customer or sponsor has added features and deliverables to the project that's going to result in overtime for some of your project team members. Next, you might organize your findings into a presentation for your customer or sponsor. Then you might rehearse the meeting where you present your case for more resources with another manager playing the role of your sponsor or customer. By gathering data, organizing your thoughts, rehearsing your meeting, you're taking little baby steps that help you get comfortable with your fear a little at a time. And you're growing at each step. Finally, you develop enough strength to step through that door and deliver your message. Sure, it's still a scary situation and you feel fear, but you've made yourself strong enough to endure the fear and get the job done. In short, you've learned that when you do what you fear, you grow stronger. In Susan Jeffers' words, quote, "Commit yourself to pushing through the fear and becoming more than you are at the present moment. The you that could be is absolutely colossal." End quote. So here are some challenges for you. You, project manager, project team leader, reflect on these questions. Recall a major achievement, something you're really proud of. What were the most difficult challenges you faced? Were there times that you had genuine fear while working toward this achievement? How did you overcome your fear? What did it feel like to conquer this fear and then ultimately complete the achievement? Are you stronger because of having overcome this fear? Now recall some major achievements that your project team or your organization has attained. What were the most difficult challenges they faced? Were there times they had genuine fear working toward their achievement? How did they overcome this fear? Are the team members or the organization as a whole stronger because of having faced the fear and overcome it? Now consider some team challenges. Ask your team, looking back, what challenges have we been really afraid of, but ultimately prevailed? Did these make us stronger? Name one thing you would do differently on this project if you were guaranteed to succeed. Are there any great potential achievements in front of us that we are afraid to pursue? And if so, why? What baby steps can we take to start to chip away at a big fear that is paralyzing us? Should we practice, maybe? Get coaching? Do some sort of rehearsal? Visit someone else who's done this thing that we're trying to do and find out how they do it? And finally, project manager, consider these challenges. Make an inventory of ways your project team has faced really frightening situations and prevailed. Remind them how fearful they were and remind them how strong they are now that they have overcome their fear. Pay attention to your team and look for signs of fear. Look for ways you can help them reduce their fear. For example, mitigate or eliminate the consequences of failure. What can you do to reduce the consequences? Get them some help from an expert who has succeeded at a similar task. And encourage them to take baby steps that will build their confidence and spark their courage to tackle the thing they fear. And finally, praise their courage at making strong efforts to overcome their fear and try new challenges, even if they fail. To learn more, you can go to Philosopher's Notes and get the full notes and MP3 on Susan Jeffers' Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Or you can go to learnoutloud.com and get the 6-hour version of Susan Jeffers' Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And as always, you'll find links to all of these resources at the Inspired Project Team's blog. Look under the post, Do What You Fear and Grow Stronger. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to check out inspiredprojectteams.com for more great ideas to inspire your project team. We're also available on iTunes. And for lots of project management related articles, tools, and links, go to michaelgreer.com, where you can learn how you can schedule a custom-tailored on-site project management basics workshop for your organization, where we work with your own real-world projects to teach your folks project management skills. Until next time, do what you fear and grow stronger. And above all, stay inspired.